So hi everyone, I am Santush Monga. This is my game named Active Maze Runner for HD task. I have added a few of implications to it, like advanced mode of it, as you may see. So let's come to the first. We will found the output, that how it runs. Then we will visualize it properly. Okay. So then we will come to the code part. Okay. So where we will see how these games work, or and if we visualize that thing and why was that happening. So we will do all the circumstances in code. Okay. So now this is my whole code. Okay. So now first let's run it. For running it, we need to write command scm clang plus the name of the file, as it is program.cpp space -l, as we are using splashkit in it. Here you may see splashkit, so we must use splashkit space o. So as you may see, this is the interface I get. So now coming here, it shows shadow maze, one campaign mode, and the second is map editor. So what it is, the campaign mode is the mode designed by me, where I inputted three levels: easy, medium and hard level. Okay, so this is the campaign mode, and the other is map editor. This is custom. Okay, so here the user gets to decide which maps he want to pursue. Okay, so campaign mode is easy only. So let's firstly move to custom, which looks a bit more attractive. Okay, so moving to this. So as you may say, here it is given arrows to move 0, floor, 1, wall, 2 key. Okay, so this is my whole maze. So coming to it, these are the all the values 1 1 1 1 1, means it is about the walls. Okay, so 0 refers to the open spaces. So like if we want to change this or customize it, so if we input here, like you may see, second second row second column, if we input here 1 instead of 0, if I inputted 1, then you may see on this part, second row second column, a wall appear. Okay, if I change it to 2, then the key will appear here. So let's inputting 2, key appears here. So I can change it according to my wish, what I want to do, like closing those empty spaces. It's totally my wish what I need to do, increasing or decreasing difficulty levels. So, and for running this, I just need to press enter key. Here it's given R for random map, enter to play. If I put input R, the map will change automatically. So it's also in the hand of the user that he wants to play this random map inputted by the game itself, or he may also make changes to it. Okay, so it's the random map, pressing R. So here it goes. Okay, victory plus press M for menu. If I input M, so this will be the same interface. Okay, so now crossing it, as you saw what all was present in it. Okay, so now we will come to the code part. Okay, so we will understand what happens. As you may see, the player movement was in like shifts, like in integer value 1 2 3, like he was moving a kind of like transporting from one step to other in a swift move, whereas the enemy was making a smooth turn, moving smoothly. All this, everything will be explained in the code. Okay, so let's now come to the code part. So here is the code part of it. Okay, so now explaining the code part. So first on it appears include splash kit, include vector, include q, include cmath, include string, include stdlib, and include city time. So okay, so first we will see what is splash kit. Everyone knows that it is the splash kit used for here. I use it for opening window, drawing shapes like fill underscore rectangle, which will be inputted further or shown further by me. Okay, so now first the another one is vector. So how, why is vector used and what is vector? Okay, this vector is used just to create a dynamic array. Okay, like it is used to means it is used to just store the values inside it like a list. Okay, so that is the array. Now what, let's consider for a while what is the difference between dynamic array and a simple array. A simple array is an array where we can't make any changes. Okay, so if we want to make the changes in a simple array, we need to refix whole of the code. Okay, but if we want to make changes in the dynamic array, we just need to change the values in it. Okay, whereas dynamic array is stored in the permanent storage. Okay, it is permanently stored in our computer, whereas static array, or we may say simple array, it is temporarily stored. Okay, so for deleting that whole array, we need to deleting whole dynamic array, we need to just make it free dynamic array, free array, and inputting its value to null, so that whole of its memory allocation is freed after its use. Okay, so next comes the CMath, where we used sine, cos, and square root formulas for finding the distance between the enemy and the player. Here I imported strings which is used in the double quotes. Okay, stdlib and ctime, these are just used for random values. Okay, which we are abbreviating as rand. So it will come further, I will explain it further if you want. Here is using std vector, std pair, std string. Okay, so now let's come to this part. This is like a shortcut. Okay, so we don't need to use numspace, or we don't need to use again and again 2 underscore vector, 2 underscore pair, convert, so we to convert 2 underscore. So it's a simple way of using directly vector, pair, and string. Here are the constants like window width and window height. So now let's see it. Window width is 1400 and window height is 650. So these all values are in pixel forms, like 1400 pixels and 650 pixels. 1 pixel is equal to 0.26 millimeter. So we can calculate from it that what is the size of the window. Okay, here is the cell size. This is also in pixels, 45 into 45 pixel, the number of rows, the number of columns, and the total number of campaign levels. Okay, as we have two levels, campaign level and custom level. So now what is meant by rows 12 and 16? Now this of my whole screen, as I am showing you by the cursor, this is divided into 12 rows. Okay, namely 12 rows and 16 columns. Okay, so this is what it's used, and dividing it in 12 rows and 16 columns, we will get each and every part like a square, and that square size is 45. Okay, from this we can explain this. So next we comes to the color. So now what is RGB color? RGB stands for red, green, and blue color. Okay, so wall color is red, green, blue, a mixture of red, green, and blue. So what is this? This is the amount of mix, like 60 of red, 70 of green, and 95 of blue. Like while visualizing the wall color, we will see more blueness in it due to content of blue color is more. Okay, so here you may see in this line RGBA. So now let's see what A refers to here. RGB stands for the same, red, green, blue. A here stands for opacity, or we may say transparency. Okay, the how much transparency it occurs, or how much transparent it provides to us. Like the value is 220. The less we make the transparency, the more visibility we can see through walls. Okay, so coming next are all the RGB and RGBA colors. Now coming next, we get the enum. So why we used enum, as you all know that we enum stands for a combination of values which automatically defines its number. Like if we define it by 0, then it is 1 2 3 4. It's the benefit of using enum. Okay, so now let's see. If we are in the state underscore menu, there WASD command, or we may see that up key, down key, right and left key, there we use right and left key for moving our cursor. Okay, but if we are in the state underscore game, when we are in the game state, then these all keys are used to move the player. Okay, so now if we are in the one state, it does not, like if we are using in the menu state, it does not run the functions of the game state. So like if we are in the menu state, we are pressing up, down, up key, down key, right key and left key, then only the cursor will move. But if we are in that, then the player will move. If we are inputting the commands when we are in the state of menu and we are inputting right, left, up, down, then cursor will move and it will not give command to the player to move. Okay, so it crosses all the values of the further states. So moving next is the, if we are choosing the state menu, here are the global chosen by me. Int player underscore level index is the, I have choose the level to be 0 1 2, which is easy, medium and hard. Okay, player underscore r, here is the respawn point of the player, which is first row and first column. Exit means where the exit point is available, which is 10th row and 14th column. There were a total of 12 rows and 16 columns, but the exit was 10th row and 14 column. Here is a torch timer, for which I used the sign, which is used to just visualize the torch effect. Here is the edit cursor, as I mentioned above, like which is used in the menu state. Here is the struct enemy. I structure is something which comprises of a particular type of things stored in a particular structure. I don't need to allocate memory for all this differently. I just I need to create a struct for enemy, and I can import all the values or all the variables I need to store in the enemy, in this struct enemy. Okay, structure of the enemy. Here I used a vector, means defining a dynamic array for a dynamic array named enemy, where I stored all the enemies. Here are all the campaign levels, 3 campaign levels. Bool vocable, this function tells us whether there is a space to move or not. So for a while, taking it in a chance that what if our player is respawned where there does not exist a row, means if r is less than 0, means r comes in negative, which is not even possible, and r greater than equal to rows. Okay, then it will just return us the false value that you are choosing it wrong, so that our game does not crashes. Okay, so moving next, here is the void setup enemies. This is the setup for setup enemies, that how enemies are set up. Okay, enemies dot clear, for every mode difficulty, if we are moving from easy to medium, the enemies are cleared. Medium to hard, enemies of medium are cleared, and random enemies for hard are imported in the map. Now coming to this, enemies dot pushback, this all is the function of q command. Okay, where we imported above library include q, that is just used for FIFO data structures. The FIFO data structures refers to as first in first out. So these are the commands used in q, like push underscore back. There are the two main commands of q, one is the push and other is the pop. Push is used to give a new value to the q, which is added at the back at the end of the queue. Okay, whereas pop is used to just check the first value out and make it to run. Okay, just move it out. More difficulty 1, medium, this is from here we can get that there are the 2 enemies, here 3 enemies, and moving further that there are the 4 enemies, or we have used else command for it. Now these are the, as you may see that this is the row, this is the column, and this is the speed of the enemy, like 0.03. In this the enemies increase, so that's why I decrease the speed to not make it as hard. So I pushed back all the enemies with a speed of 0.04 in the level hard. So here was the void function of loading level. If one level is completed, then it is adding another level. For here I used custom, I use also referred to here the custom one. If not custom, then rows r is equal to 0. This is also important part of the game. So build key map, here I imported the key map, so where it is to used. Okay, key map dot assign, here I assigned the keys where the keys are randomly found. Okay, so assigning it in the custom, like keys are assigned randomly in the custom, but in the campaign mode I assigned it by my own. Okay, so here you may see, like here is the 2. Okay, 1 2 is here, 1 2 is here, 1 2 is here. So these all are the keys which are assigned by me. If I want, I can change its value and run it, and you will see that the uh, position of the key changes. So here is the exit for custom mode also, which is row 10 and column 14. Okay, so that's the same for the campaign mode and custom mode. So moving next, it is the how random map is created in it. So now discussing a very important topic, or you may see, or you may say it to be a very important concept. Okay, interesting thing about it. So now in the custom mode, okay, so we are importing keys at random places. Okay, we can change their location too, but for enemies we can't assign any location. We can change it for 0 1 and 2, which are wall, which is floor, and which is key, but we can't change the location of the enemy that are assigned by random. That's not included in the code of the changing the position of the enemy, that were assigned randomize. Okay, for which I used further command of dot randomize. Okay, so now explaining it, if the enemies are assigned randomly, okay, so first of it, just take a concept view that enemies are assigned in your map. So now it's your turn next to change the code, change the maze. Okay, so it's your turn to change the maze. And if you are importing 1 wall 0 or 2, so for a while take a guess that you inputted 2, okay, or you imported 1 in a random place, and there existed an enemy which was firstly imported by using dot randomize. Okay, you don't know where the enemy is, but by pressing that keys or 1 2 or 0, you occupied that space by your own, that I want here to be floor. By pressing 1 you want it here to be floor, but enemies was already present there, so the count of the enemies will decrease to 2. Okay, so if there are 3 enemies and at one place you imported the wall, so the enemies will decrease to 2 and enemies will decrease to 1. Okay, so this is the whole part of interesting, that how this thing of random works in my code. Okay, so here is the clear and start at the end, that active maze 1 1 is equal to 0, 10 14 is equal to 0. So it means at active maze first row and first column it is 0, means is not any there is not any wall or not any key. This is inputted by me because, as we discussed earlier, the 1 1 was set for the position of the player, and the 10 14 was set for the exit, so making it sure that there is not any wall. So I assign this value, that there should not be any wall, or there should be not any enemy directly imported to that, so that player gets the space to move around. So here I created a pair like int of 2D array, like you may easily refer to it as 2D array. So using here SR and TR. SR refers to the starting row of the enemy, and TRs refer to the tracing row of the player. If they both come equal, then will be returned by the same value, which is SR. Okay, which we will be returned by the SR, and the we will see a pop-up window that press R or press R to restart. Okay, from the same level. So this is the use of that. Here you may see that if SR is equal to TR and SC is equal to TC, return SR is equal to SC. So what if we inputted here OR operator? So if we imported here OR operator, then what will be the changes? If the enemy come to the place where the player is, means enemies come to the same row where the player is, not same row and same column, means not exactly the same point where the player is, just about the same row, then also the game will end. So this is the use of AND operator here. If that particular enemy reaches that particular place where the player is, then only the game will return as a resi and the game will end and a pop-up window with press R to restart appears. So these are the DR directive rows and directive columns, you may refer it to like that. For rows it will check -1 for the upside of the column and 1 for the downside of the column. For column it will check -1 for the right side of the row and 1 for the left side of the row. So now think it about it, like if player is present in a particular box, okay, or a floor, now he will check by dr, he will check the above column and below column. For dc he will check the right column and right row. And if there is space, if there is space like walkable distance, if he has walkable area, there is not any wall, then it will input the value or return us the bool value to be true. Okay, so moving next, I use the pop as I already described to you what is the pop function used for. Okay, so this is the whole of my code. Here I updated the enemy's position for custom map. Here is the drawing part of whole the game. Okay, so now understanding it, for inputting any value in the open window, we are using draw underscore text and fill underscore rectangle. As we already told you that this is the use of the splashkit function, splashkit library, to import these kind of lines so that it is easy for the user to draw and fill rectangle or circles. Okay, so this is whole of the drawing part, that whole drawing how it works, like fill underscore circle for the enemy color, xy coordinates. So it's all about it. So now coming to the main part, which is the main function, where the main function of it starts. Okay, this is the draw text. As I already told you that for writing anything in the open window you use draw underscore text. Map editor change the color Arial one, so which was present on the top screen as you saw when I didn't collected all the keys. There was a yellow text which described collect keys, and when I collected all the keys there was, it converted into red and the line appeared, there was run to exit. Okay, so this is the use of whole the draw underscore text command. So now moving next is the main function. Here I use the open window. Okay, the open window. So now let's see, the open window is commanded in the main function and changed using draw underscore text, or changed by fill underscore circle, fill underscore rectangle. Okay, so this is whole of the main function. Drawing the menu, draw the key type num underscore 2 key. This is just for one for the campaign mode and two for the customized map. Okay, customized or randomized editor map, which you may refer to as. If game over, then the clear screen. If doesn't over, then move to the next command, press R to restart, M for menu. These are all the draw underscore text features which are used here. So at last I did loading level index is equal to loading level underscore index. If the player completed all the levels, then it will print true. If doesn't play it all the values, then it will not play it. Okay, so refresh the screen, return the screen. So that was my whole code part. I know it requires a lot of time, but now let's now do it just by again running the code and gaining more clarity about it. So as we described whole the code, so now let's again run it and gain more view about it. So I guess now you know what is this all used for, campaign mode, map editor and all this. So here is, I need to show you one thing which I added to it. So now as you see that it is the second level, the enemies change to 3, which I already showed you that enemy dot push dot back. Okay, so there were the 3 enemies in the second level. So here it comes the 3 enemies. Here is only one enemy. So now you will say that how will the player win? On the exit there is an enemy. Okay, and on the same time, okay, the player even cannot enter in it. So now there is only one way, that is losing. So it will pop up with an sarcasm reply, this game is made by Santush, you can't win kit. So this was this just of humor thing added by me to make it more interactive for the kids or everyone to play it, just for refreshing. So this was whole of the my code part and my whole of the HD part. Thank you for hearing me out.